Mr. Caristo as well for giving me the opportunity to be able to talk to all of you tonight about something that I've become very, very passionate about, and that's getting students to really appreciate the importance of getting your mindset and getting your head right for the HSC. It says a lot about you girls and the parents that are here tonight about how much you value your daughter's education, that you're taking your Wednesday night out away from your families to come and listen to me talk about this kind of stuff. So thank you for doing that and allowing me the privilege as well. Some years ago, I taught some students, a couple of students, two of them that really come to mind. And like so many students that I had prior to that, these students sat down with me and at separate times had said to me, "Hey sir, I want to become a musician, or I want to become something to do with music." And they had that passion and that fire in their eyes about wanting to be a performer or be a composer or be an educator. And for any teacher, whenever someone comes and says, "Hey, I've got an interest in your subject," inside it really just fires us up because we love it. We absolutely love it. And so I did all the appropriate things and spent the time with the girls and showed them, we gave them like a path and said, okay, here's where if you do these things, you end up doing the following, and if you do that, you end up over here, and that's where you say you want to go. And I taught these girls from years 9 all the way through to year 12. And the interesting thing about the whole process was what happened to both of them, because they both started in the same way in terms of they were both at Cerdon. They had me as their teacher, they had the same classmates, they were both from the Maryland's Gravestone area, so they were the same socio-economic background, all these similarities. Yet one of them fizzled away and nothing really happened. She, stumbled through years 9, 10, 11 and 12 and kind of, nothing happened. And the other one completely took off. And when I say took off, I'm talking about she ended up studying at the Conservatorium of Music, which is one of Australia's premier music schools. Not only did she study there, she auditioned and got through on scholarship, which means that they paid for all their tuitions, which is literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars of tuition fees for universities that they covered for her. And I recently caught up with her to see how she's going, and she said, everything's going great. She's now working with the researchers at the conservatorium, and she's wanting to become a professor at the university, which is just phenomenal. To get someone that's coming from here, and this girl she knew what you girls knew in years 7 and 8 in terms of music, same starting field, and sort of did all the steps and ended up right at the top of the mountain. And the other student, nothing happened. It was kind of just flat. She got through and she's doing okay. I caught up with her about 2 years ago. How things going? Yeah, it's all okay. What are you up to? Not much, I'm working it out. Really different compared to the other one, which is, hey, I'm going to be a university professor and that's where I'm at. Awesome. So why is it that we can get two girls in the same classroom with the same influences and the same variables, and one of them shoots ahead and the other one really struggles? And that's what tonight is all about. It's about understanding that your mindset, the way that you have set your brain up to think and feel about what happens to you at school, is going to be the biggest difference between whether you succeed, whatever you define success at, in school or not. And when I say success, I'm not just referring to you achieving a 99.9999% result. I'm talking about whatever it is that you benchmark yourself at. But overriding all of that, what's more important is that you can look back at the end of the year and go, wow, I've done my best. That's really what it's all about. It's about you getting to that point where you know within yourself that you've done your best. And I can tell you girls, in a few weeks' time, when the HSC results get released, we're going to have some girls that are going to be super excited because of all the opportunities that have opened up for them, and I'll be elated. And there'll be some that Mr. Bridges will take away and have them in a room that he'll have on the side there, and they'll just be in tears and devastated at what they get. And it won't have anything to do with what mark they get. It will have everything to do with that student knowing that they've put their best in. That's all that it ever comes down to. So tonight is about understanding how the strategies that we use as students to, not just the students by the way, as human beings, the strategies that we use to get whatever we're getting out of life, but in this context, out of the HSC. So a prayer that and thank you to the girls for the prayer as well, I really appreciate that. Something that sits on my desk, and I've got this little bit of paper, and it's crumpled up, and it's worn out, and I've had it since before I got married, when I was a teenager, and just had it on my desk, is this serenity prayer, which says something like, God, give me the serenity, the peacefulness, the calm. Give me the serenity to accept the things that I can't change. And give me the courage to change things that I can change. And really importantly, the wisdom to know the difference between both of them. And the reason I put this little prayer up, because it reminds me, but hopefully as well will be a signal for you to see that there are some things that are out of your control, but there's a lot that is in your control. And tonight we're going to talk about the stuff that's in your control. So, first thing, welcome to the ride, girls. I've been talking a lot today, so I'll need to take some drinks of water, or my throat keeps up. Welcome to the ride, welcome to the HSC ride. It's an exciting time, and you've got 12 months of this ride. It's a little bit less than 12 months because the HSC finished last week, was it, Miss? The week before. So you've got a little bit less than 12 months to go. Earlier this year, we surprised our two daughters. I've got Ella, who's 9, and little Ariana, who's 5. We surprised them because we woke up and my wife and I looked at our calendar, we had nothing on. You know, one of those rare days we just don't have anything on, and we're thinking, what can we do? And we decided to surprise the girls by taking them to a trip to Luna Park. And we didn't say anything to them, we just said, we want you to get dressed comfortably, put some sneakers on, get a jumper, we're going for a bit of a drive. And so they were super excited as soon as we arrived, and they see the big teeth, and they hadn't gone before. I hadn't gone since I was a kid, like a young kid. And they were really, really excited at going to Luna Park. And they start off by going on the little rides, you know, like the carousel that sit on the horse and it turns around. And for a dad, it's boring as. I mean, how many times can you go around before it just... But for them, it's like, oh, this is really cool. And then finally, we get them to do something that my wife and I are a bit more interested in, which is the roller coaster ride. Now, if you've been to Luna Park, you know that the roller coaster ride, for parents, it's like, yeah, you know, it's okay. It kind of tickles you inside a little bit, but it's not going to scare you. But for a 9-year-old who's never really been on a roller coaster, that thing was like the biggest mountain ever. And we say to both of them, hey, do you want to go on the roller coaster ride? And they say, yeah, of course we do. We've been on the horsey thing, that was pretty good. No big a deal. Let's get on the roller coaster ride. And I'm saying, are you sure? Because once we line up and we get there and we're strapped in, you're in for the ride. Yeah, we're good. Rock on, Dad. Let's go. So I took Ella, my 9-year-old, and my wife was in the other carriage, and she took Ariana. So we've lined up for a while, and we sit down in the thing, and they strap us in. Now, you know the roller coaster ride, so they put that thing on the legs, which is almost like saying to you, that's it, point of no return has just occurred. You're in. And you've got a queue of people behind you, so it's a real pain to get out. And you have this anticipation of, as you climb the ride, and it starts to lift you up and up and up, and you're thinking, oh, this is so cool. And it's going really slowly, like, you know, it's like the roller coaster saying to you, I've got your back, don't worry. You don't have to worry about anything, it's all nice and easy. And then you hit the cliff, which is that bit where it just drops, and all of a sudden your world just disappears from underneath you. And the time that you've worked out that life is not nice right now, you're back on the up again, and you're going back up again, and you're turning around a little bit, and you're thinking, oh, that wasn't too bad. You're back down again and freaking out. And that's what it's like. It's just up and down and sideways, and you're spinning around. And before you know it, in the shortest amount of time, you're back at the beginning again, and you're off that ride. And for Ella, the 9-year-old, I said to her, how was that? And she goes, oh, that was really scary, but you know what? It was really cool. I said, you want to do it again? She goes, no way. I want to do it again. Maybe later, but not right now. And so I get off, and I'm walking to the side, and here's my wife. And I'm so glad that my wife took Ariana, a 5-year-old, because a 5-year-old just hasn't got the strength to keep her neck straight, let alone her body. She's getting thrown around like she's in a washing machine. And she hated it. Absolutely hated it. She gets off, she's in tears, my wife's holding her, and I said, hey, how the hell was that? Ah! You know, all that kind of stuff. And the same bride gave two completely different results. And I said to Ariana, do you want to go on that again? She goes, no way. I'm never ever going on that again. But what was really interesting, that of all the other rides that happened later on at Luna Park that night, that for them both was the scariest thing. And because they conquered that, everything else was just so much easier for them. So we'd go to other ones that were half the size of that, and they wouldn't even think about whether it was scary or not. They just go, let's just have fun. And the HSC is very much like one of these roller coaster rides where you're right now, where you are, you're strapped in and you're at the point of no return. Now, whether you've lined up yourself or whether your parents have lined you up or whether the government with its changes have lined you up and strapped you in and said you're not leaving until you're 17, guess what, girls? You're strapped in. You're in. And you're going on this ride whether you like it or not. And you're going to have times where it's going to be the most exciting thing over the next 12 months. And there are going to be times where you're just going to be terrified and life is going to suck for you. You know, to put it in a nice way. It's going to be awful. And the moment it starts getting too awful, you'll start to climb back up again and it's going to be all good again. And you will blink, and before you know it, year 12 is going to be finished. And you'll be doing what our girls are doing, is it this week, miss? The formal? You know, in a year's time, you'll be doing your formal. One of those up bits is like when students go, oh, I'm so excited about getting my formal dress. You get to, you know, like parents and dads, you would have remembered your daughters when they were like my 5-year-old, and you're looking at them now and they're grown women. It's just, it happens so quickly. But what this does is that it gets you ready for whatever your next roller coaster ride is going to be once school's finished. And that might be anything. It could be university, it could be work, it could be starting your own business, or whatever. You know, there's so much ahead of you that for the moment, you're strapped in, enjoy the ride, girls, because it will happen really, really quickly. Now, importantly for parents and for the teachers, whilst your daughters are freaking out, you know, going up and down, and the world is falling apart, then they're excited, then it sucks again, and then they're all, you know, all of that is happening. And I've taught girls long enough to know that sometimes girls, you know, you can be a little bit emotional, a little bit, a lot. And so the difference between you guys and, when I say you guys, the students, and the parents and us teachers, is that for most of the teachers that served on, we've been on this ride quite a few times now. I'm one of the younger staff members, comparatively. I'm 40, comparatively young. And I've done this ride maybe 15, 16 times. So can you imagine going to Luna Park and every month you just get on the same ride, and after a while, it kind of, the edge of it wears off, and it changes, you approach it differently. So we're not getting as scared and we're not getting as excited, we're kind of a bit more level. For the parents, what your daughters need is someone to hold that line for them so that when life is going crazy, you've got their back. That's what they really need to know. And the teachers do that by just keeping everything nice and calm and collected. And parents, you can do this as well by all means go on the ride with them, but understand that they're going to be, their emotions are going to be like really spread out. And through this process, our jobs, parents and teachers, is just to let them know that everything's going to be okay. You're strapped in to this little thing. You're going to be safe. We're not going to throw you out halfway through. And at the end of it, you're going to be better for it. Doesn't matter whether you're scared on the ride now or not. Doesn't matter whether you're excited. At the end of it, when you hop off, you're going to be a better person for it. And that is really the essence of what this HSC is about. It's about getting you to grow in a way so that you become a better person. It's exciting, isn't it? Is it exciting? I've just described it as a scary thing, and then I'm saying it's exciting. So, let's start. Do we have any thoughts or comments? Does anyone want to share anything? Does it make sense? Yeah?